The movie begins with a scene where a gold necklace falls onto thick snow. On a snowy cliff, a woman is in a precarious situation, struggling to pull herself up, and she lets out a scream before the screen fades to black. In a different part of the story, a young girl in a red jacket dashes through a forest, looking anxious and frightened. She eventually reaches a house and nervously knocks on the door. When Alex answers, he's taken by surprise to find Eva standing there. He inquires about her presence and her mother, but before Eva can respond, she faints. Fast forward to the year 2041, and we see a plane navigating its way through snowy mountains towards a small airfield. There, David eagerly waits with his car for Alex, who disembarks from the plane carrying a small travel bag. A robotic cat companion accompanies Alex. David greets Alex with joy upon his arrival. They hugged tightly as they haven't seen each other in 10 years, and they're both too cold and decide to leave quickly in the car. They talk about the amazing robots Alex has made and how David prefers lecturing because he likes the students. David invites Alex to stay with his family, but Alex wants to stay at his parents' house, which they both think would be a mess. At the university students, we're working on a lot of robots, even outside, and as Alex was getting out, David invites him to dinner, which he accepts. He walks into the university and makes his way to Julia's office, but is greeted by a receptionist bot who tells him that Julia is teaching a class and is unavailable at that moment. He doesn't listen and just walks in anyways, and as soon as he walks in, the students recognize who he is, and Julia greets him. Two students seem to be having trouble with their small robot horse, and Alex makes his way over to them and inspect the situation, and he asks them what they should do next. One of the students suggested using the phrase, "what you see when you close your eyes," as a way to shut down a robot forcefully. Alex found this idea problematic and explained to the students that using this phrase would cause the robot to lose all its emotional memories. Julia chimed in, emphasizing that the phrase was sacred and should only be employed in extreme cases. Julia led Alex over to a window where he was amazed to see a robot that appeared just like a real boy. The S9 robot had been built precisely to Alex's design from 10 years ago, missing only one crucial element, the emotional intelligence software. Alex's mission was to figure out and install this software, a task Julia had once considered impossible. As they entered the room, Alex examined the robot's structure closely. It was at this moment that Julia asked Alex to complete the project he had started years ago, as he was the only one who could make the robot both entertaining and safe. Alex left the room and headed toward Julia's car. As he was about to step in, he was taken aback and surprised to see Lorna, his former lover, teaching a group of students. She paused for a moment when she realized it was him, but he climbed into the car and they drove away. Upon reaching the house, Alex used his palm scan to open the door. The interior was visibly unkempt, with old family photos still adorning the walls. He told Julia that he intended to set up his workspace in the basement, to which she responded that she would send the necessary components over the next morning. Alex ended up falling asleep while working and was awoken by a knock at the door. Opening it, he was met by SS7, an android named Max, who promptly assessed the house and generated a list of necessary cleaning and maintenance tasks. Alex learned that Max was created by his brother David and was more of a personal assistant than a cleaning bot. He left Max to handle the cleaning and headed to the university. At the university, Alex and Julia were reviewing videos of various boys performing tasks, but Alex found them all rather uninspiring, as none seemed to possess the character traits he was looking for in the new robot model. As Alex was on the verge of leaving the building, he noticed Lorna giving a lecture and decided to drop by her class. He arrived just as the class was ending, and after the students departed, she informed him that the students were studying his theories, but he insisted that they were really there to see her. Nevertheless, they both couldn't help but smile as they chatted. Driving back home, Alex observed a group of girls playing, and one of them, in her red jacket, caught his attention. It was Ava, and she boldly approached him, questioning why he was observing the children so closely. Alex replied honestly, and to his surprise, Ava was an exceptionally confident and lively child, which was exactly what he had been looking for. Ava then straightforwardly accused him of being a pervert who liked to watch kids, which piqued Alex's interest even more. When he offered her candy, she continued to tease him, but accepted the treat. He went on to tell her about his work and invited her to collaborate with him. Upon arriving home, Alex found Max preparing dinner and making a basket for the cat. Max and the cat seemed to get along well, as the cat was a free-spirited robot not bound by the same rules as Max. After dinner, Alex immersed himself in his work, striving to create suitable software for the new robot model. Once he was satisfied with the design, he uploaded it to a prototype robot. The robot came to life and began performing tasks while Alex observed and recorded its behavior. During his work, Alex received a phone call that startled the robot. It was David inviting him to dinner and some quality time before heading to the casino. That evening, he arrived at David's house, where they discussed Max's presence in the house. To Alex's surprise, Lorna walked in, and it was evident that Lorna and David were married. However, an even greater surprise awaited when Ava entered the room, and David introduced her as Uncle Alex. She winked at Alex but didn't reveal that they had met before. The four of them gathered around the dinner table, discussing Alex and his work. Alex even captured a video of them playing together. Max then raised a question, wondering if the girl might be a bit unconventional as a model for the robot. Alex explained to Max that this was precisely what he had been searching for in a model. While he recorded the video, his attention was more focused on Lorna than on Ava. Exhausted from his work, Alex eventually fell asleep again, but was awakened by the sound of rocks being thrown at his window. It turned out to be Ava, and he greeted her before she hopped down from the car roof and entered the house. Ava curiously explored the various gadgets in Alex's workshop, and when he finished setting up the computer, he allowed her to describe the movements she saw on the screen. After a while, she grew bored and left, but Alex didn't follow her. Soon, she returned and insisted on seeing the brain Alex was working on. He showed her all the components and explained how it worked, then started it up so she could witness the prototype robot waking up. Later, Ava returned home, took a bath, and informed Lorna that she had spent time with Alex that day. This news upset Lorna, who warned her not to venture outside of town on her bike like that again. Ava, being bold and curious, asked about the type of relationship between Alex and Lorna. Alex did his best to explain, but they both ended up playing it off with a joke. Meanwhile, at the university, Alex was trying to persuade Julia to base the new robot model on a girl rather than a boy, because he believed that girls of that age were more interesting and fun. After the discussion, he left and encountered Lorna. As they talked in the parking lot, it was evident that there was lingering tension and unresolved feelings between them. David arrived to pick up Lorna, and she left with him. The next morning, Ava was back at Alex's house. He initially told her to leave, as her parents wanted her to work on the project. However, she managed to convince him to stay, and they went ice skating, even though Alex wasn't particularly skilled at it. Ava patiently showed him some moves. Together, they climbed a mountain and gazed upon the city. Ava pointed out her house, and across the town, another house, revealing that David now lived there and no longer with her and Lorna. As Alex reviewed the footage recorded with Ava that night, the prototype robot asked if Ava was his daughter because she resembled him. This question made Alex contemplate the timing. He had left Lorna and the university around the same period when Ava would have been conceived. The next day, he found himself outside their house, peeking through the fence while Lorna and Ava played in the snow. His thoughts were disrupted by the arrival of David, who invited him inside, but Alex came up with an excuse and declined the invitation. Later that night, while working on his prototype, Alex came across something that made him laugh. However, the robot took offense and flew into a rage, throwing papers on the floor. Despite Alex's attempts to command it to stop, the robot refused to listen and asked to be let out. When Alex refused, the robot hurled a woodcarver at his head, narrowly missing him. Fed up with the situation, Alex finally uttered the phrase, "What do you see when you close your eyes?" This phrase had the power to shut down the robot. At the party, Alex watched Lorna and David dancing and approached them, asking to cut in. David allowed him, but when he observed the tension between Alex and Lorna, he became angry and stormed off. Lorna grew nervous and wanted to find David, so they both went outside in search of him. Failing to locate him, they began talking, and one thing led to another. Alex kissed Lorna, and for a brief moment, she kissed him back but quickly pulled away and ran off. Just as Lorna ran, David appeared behind Alex and punched him in the face, leading to a fight. David eventually stood over Alex, instructing him to leave. After cleaning up, Alex received a hug from Max. The next morning, he went to Julia and informed her that he wouldn't be able to complete the project. Julia asked if it was because of Lorna, but he left without answering. Alex then visited Ava and told her that he would be leaving soon. She was clearly upset by the news and asked him not to go because she had just gotten to know him. It was evident that there was a special connection between them. Lorna came to visit Alex in his workshop and apologized, but as soon as she descended the stairs, they kissed again. As Lorna was about to share something important with Alex, HBO was eavesdropping through the window. Lorna disclosed to Alex that they had made Ava, but she said something else that Ava couldn't quite make out. Ava made a noise from her hiding place, and Lorna chased after her, feeling that it was her responsibility to reveal the truth. She found Ava collapsed in the snow and proceeded to cut the skin of her back, revealing a metal casing. To fix whatever went wrong, Lorna made a quick adjustment, and Ava regained consciousness. When Lorna tried to explain what Ava truly was, Ava refused to listen and pushed her away. Lorna attempted to hug her, causing the gold necklace to break. Ava pushed her again, and Lorna fell and slid over the edge. This sequence of events led to the opening scene where Ava ran to Alex's house. He carried her inside and waited for her to regain consciousness, then called David to inform him about Ava. As Alex learned of Lorna's hospitalization, he hurriedly took Ava with him and rushed to the hospital. Sadly, despite their efforts, Lorna passed away there. Max led Ava into the room. Alex spoke with Julia, who revealed that Ava was the original project he had worked on, and Lorna had kept her despite safety concerns. With no other viable options, they had to dispose of Ava. Alex volunteered to do it, taking her ice skating one last time. After a walk through the snow, Ava showed him a beautiful view and asked him to fix her, but he realized there was nothing he could do at home. He tenderly placed Ava in bed and whispered the familiar phrase, "What do you see when you close your eyes?" This shut her down one last time. The movie ended with a sequence of Adam, Lalana, and Ava playing on the beach while wearing white, leaving a poignant and thought-provoking conclusion.